What's up, Mikey? How you doing, man?
I'm good, brother, man. How about yourself, man? Long time no see.
Right, right. Yeah, man, I'm doing good, man. Just really thankful, man, for you coming on, taking the time to talk with me about your new not new, you've been working on this project for a while, man, but it's finally gotten where it needs to be, man. Capo Rise to Power is on Amazon at this time, man. That's great, man. Congratulations, bro.
Appreciate that. Thank you, man. Everybody check that out. It's pretty cool.
For sure, man. That's that's huge, bro. To have a show, man. That's on Amazon like that, a series, and I'm sure you've got nothing but great feedback so far. But I mean, yeah, we'll get into that also. I just want to do a lot of people that are on here and stuff probably have seen some of your other interviews maybe and stuff and know a little bit about you. So we won't go into everything, you know, the trivial type stuff if you don't want to. But I did want to ask you before we got cranked up, like growing up, man, did you have a favorite actor that kind of inspired you or made you want to get into acting?
Oh man, that's a good question. Did I have a favorite actor? Yeah, at the time in the '80s, it was Fred Savage from The Wonder Years,
Okay,
and they actually used to compare me to him. They used to say that I looked just like him when I was a kid. Um, yeah,
right.
Fred Savage,
Fred Savage. Oh man,
definitely.
that's very interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was also a big fan of the Coreys, man. They were like legends to me, especially Corey Haim, rest in peace. He was
Right.
big in my childhood, man. You know.
Yeah, yeah, man. That's yeah, man. Rest in peace to him for sure, man.
Yeah.
Wow. Was what was it about either of them, either the Coreys or Savage, that made you, like drawn to him or
So
interested you?
yeah, I mean, I would say just the caliber of acting that they had at such a young age. Especially Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, Fred Savage. They were all naturals. Macaulay Culkin was another one. Just Elijah Wood.
Right.
These kids just at a young age they had it. You know what I mean? And what drew me into them was where it just didn't look fake with them. It looked so real. And then when you hear some of their interviews, they're like, "Yeah, we just had to hit our mark and remember our lines." I'm like, damn, I think it's a little bit more than that. They just had it. They had something that drew me towards them. Phenomenal actors, man.
Yeah, for sure. You know, Macaulay Culkin to me, man, just amazing because I'm a huge like Home Alone fan. That's my every year I got to watch all of them. You know what I'm saying?
Of course, man.
I, I mean, just man, that when you see like say part one, how small he was, how young he was, and what he gave. You know what I mean? Like how real he made it. How um just not doesn't look like he's reading anything. It doesn't look like they had to he's just smooth, man, on all of it. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy, man. That's like the hardest part. What you're saying there, whether it's a musician or an actor, I can take a verse and read it off the paper and sound real mechanical, like just like a robot. Or you
Right.
can sit there and you can perform it. You can hit those cadences. You can hit all those melodies and harmonies. It's the same thing with acting. It's very difficult to make it look as natural as possible.
Making it look natural. I think that's
Mhm.
the thing, man. I mean, it's just, you know, that's so something you either have or you don't. I think I don't know that it really can be taught. Honestly, man, I think you either got it or you don't.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's really interesting. As far as movies, man, coming up, did you have a favorite movie that
Oh
that
yeah.
also was kind of had you
Plenty of favorite movies, man. Edward Scissorhands. Uh,
scissorhands?
I used to watch that movie over and over. Big Johnny Depp fan, man. Big,
Nice.
big time, man.
Wow.
Um, a lot of stuff, man. Of course, the mob genre towards the '90s when I became a teenager. Because when I
Hmm.
was a kid, I didn't understand that shit when I was a kid.
Sure, most people. Right.
I was into like the Goonies and all your Brat Pack movies, The Breakfast Club,
Oh
Mannequin,
yeah.
all those '80s movies, man.
Those are great, man.
Right?
Oh
Weekend at
man.
Bernie's.
Oh man, yeah, man. Mannequin, man. Do you know? I think I saw Mannequin at like the Dollar Cinema, bro. I was a big Dollar Cinema guy back then, man. You know what I mean? Because as a kid, bro, you could probably find 4 quarters, and go to a movie. So like, did they have Dollar Cinemas up there?
They definitely did, but what I remember as a kid was the manager for the movie theater was a beautiful woman that basically was really close with my family. My parents owned a pizzeria.
Okay.
So she was the manager of the movie theater. So there was an exchange. There was
Gotcha.
a bar.
Yeah.
So
For
she would
sure.
give us stacks. She would give us stacks of movie slips for free, and we would give her food. So and so basically, we didn't pay for any movies in the '90s at all. And I've seen all of them in the movie theater. So yeah, but the dollar movie definitely existed out here too as well. Man.
Yeah. Wow, man, y'all didn't even need the dollar. Y'all didn't even need the dollar cinema, bro. Jeez,
Never.
That's crazy. My brother, it's funny you say that because like my brother was in the same kind of situation where he worked at a movie theater, and the guy that ran it, he was an old Italian dude. He was actually kind of a connected guy, man, for real. It's crazy. And he would send him to go get Italian food and pizza next door at this place. And that's what they would do, man. They trade off pizza for movies and it, that's nuts, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
definitely.
Wow. That's
man.
cool, man.
Definitely.
So, geez, man. So, okay. So fast forward now, as far as Capo, and I know you did try out for the Bronx Tale, young Collagen, and you were close on that one, right?
I had a bunch of callbacks on that one. I almost got the part of Francis Capra, which was the younger part, not the older version.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But I auditioned for all those movies in the '90s. OG, you're talking Heavyweights, Little Giants.
Nice.
I mean, I did a lot of extra work when I was a kid. I was actually on the Cosby Show as an extra with the new Cosby Show, and it was it was the episode where Ray Romano was on there, where they did like the I played like an extra in the background.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Jeez, man.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I did a lot of shit, dude. Like I was an extra in the movie Sleepers. You ever seen the movie Sleepers?
Yeah, man. Wow.
So there's a scene where the girl's coming in on the wheelchair and she's like, strike him out, and they're playing stickball. Mm-hmm. And I'm literally behind the girl in the wheelchair. I was like 15, 14 years old when we filmed that. And I've been doing this for a long time, man. I've been trying for a long time.
Right.
What do they say? It takes 45 years to be an overnight success, right?
Yeah, that's right. Hey, man, but if you like it and you love it and it's something you enjoy, doesn't even matter, bro. I mean, you just do it because you like it, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If you get the success where you end up on something on Amazon or even, man, like Capo, or you end up in even background scenes, man. How many people can say they were on background scenes in Cosby or Sleepers or whatever, man? Or had the experience of going to those auditions. That's what I'm going to ask you about. How was that experience as a child going to those auditions?
I mean, it was amazing. I had a real dedicated father who, the first audition he took me on was for a sort of like I want to say a limited edition video for the Money Store. And it turned out to be a scene with Phil Rizzuto, the great Yankees shortstop who ended up being a sportscaster. Holy cow, that guy. And I ended up my first thing out the door I got. And my dad saw that and he was like, wow, this kid's got something, let me dedicate my time to it. So we basically, me and my dad would hop in the car every day after school, because in those days they faxed you over a script, you learned it, and then you drove to Manhattan from Jersey and you auditioned. So we were in the car 3-4 days a week just auditioning. So that kind of, built my craft too as well, and got me better at performances and learning the acting, as well as going to acting school. I went to West Barron Acting School for years, which a lot of child actors went to in Manhattan, and just studying and crafting everything, man. Just like anything else, just like you with the boxing, man. There's an art form to it, right?
Put in work, yeah.
Yeah, you got to put in that work, and eventually you'll see when you hone the craft that it does come to fruition. But it takes a lot of work, and I did it for many years. Then I kind of stepped away. Life got in the way, and then I got into my 20s and mid 30s, and I had a kid, and I just started to just hustle and grind for my family. Right. And then this opportunity presented itself through my older brother, Tony Fazz, because he knew Jimmy. He was like, you should read for the part of Paulie. This 80s flashback scenes where, they're looking for an actor for this upcoming project. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I can get. And he was like, bro, just read for it. I'm telling you. And I did. And the rest is history.
Man, that's nuts, man. That's
that
what you're saying, man, the audition process and going through that, even for ones that you may not get. Think about it, man. Even for people looking for jobs, I think it's very helpful, man, if they just go on interviews,
Yeah,
and get comfortable with interviews, no matter what you want to go into. You may not get this gig, maybe apply for ones you don't even want, just to get the work in, to get comfortable, feel good about, being there or whatever. So,
yeah.
maybe get a different experience in each one, right?
Yeah, I mean, for me, just right out the door, getting that first one built confidence for me. So I think that's what kind of kept me going. And plus, people would tell you, listen, you can be auditioning for years. Even back then, people knew like it's impossible. It's like hitting the Mega Millions to get
Right,
into acting and to break through. It's really who you know to
right,
get you in there, and then what you know that keeps you in there. You know what I mean? But you
right,
got to be lucky. There's no doubt about it. It's who you know, because you could be better than most, but if you don't really know that person the way I knew Jimmy, and got in the door with him, and he gave me a chance, that's really what it is, man. You just got to get lucky and have some form of skill, right?
right,
Some
right.
kind of skill set.
Got to be able to do something exactly. But knowing people or having some type of in always helps you with all types of gigs. That's right, man. That's right. You mentioned your brother, man, and I really like your brother, man. Tony, man, cool guy, great
Yeah,
guy, man. We talked about the bail bonds business,
yeah,
before, and which is interesting as hell to me, that type of stuff, and just an overall cool guy, man. We'll get more into his character if you want, because I like the scene with him doing the boxing, man.
yeah,
Everything, that was neat, and
yeah.
me and him talked about that before, and we'll pull up pictures along the way. Let me pull up the actual uh, cover there, man, with Jimmy on there. Just man,
Yeah, it's pretty wild seeing that thumbnail above Tony Soprano on The Sopranos
wow,
on Amazon. It's pretty cool, man. Jimmy did the impossible, man. Shout out to him, dude. Love that fucking guy, man. He's
for
amazing.
sure, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Good,
Diamond,
cool guy.
diamond in the rough. Diamond in the rough.
Right, right, and just man, he put in the work, man, and made it happen. Like you say, having that there on Amazon, man, that's nuts, bro. I mean, that's so cool, man. And it just shows, man. You put in the work, what can happen, and then you got Lou, of course, man.
Great Lou
Uh,
Silver. Yeah, man.
oh
Amazing,
man,
amazing actor. Amazing
um,
actor. Yeah.
amazing, bro. And shout out to Lou, man. I heard he got a pretty sweet one there with Sylvester, huh? Tulsa
Yeah, yeah,
Kings.
yeah, man. I'm hearing the same things you're hearing, man. Shout
Yeah,
out to Lou Silver and all his accolades, man. Love
bro.
it, man.
That's not that's awesome. Yeah, great act. And everybody that
Yeah,
I don't want to do any type of spoiler stuff or anything like that, obviously, but I mean, just I've seen the first two episodes, and man, everything was great, man. Just it was such a different uh take on everything. It wasn't just the same stereotypical stuff. And I love the like you say, the flashback stuff where you're doing different things. That was just well written and well acted from everything I've seen so far.
yeah, yeah. Jimmy did his thing too, man. I was blown away by his performance, man. Because I seen it just like you guys seen it. Yeah, I went to the premiere. I saw the first few episodes, but I didn't really get to see the last episode, which was just amazing, man. Just amazing work. Everybody's performances were on point, and not bad for a bunch of unknowns. I'll tell you that. And first timers.
And it was, I'm telling you, everything was just, whenever I go into watching series shows, like that are, episodes, I always think of Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Okay. Because for me, I really loved Breaking Bad, but my cousin kept pushing, man, you got it. And I'm always late to the show, bro. Y'all show is the first one I've ever seen that just came out and I'm watching it. I'm usually 2 or 3 years later, somebody comes to me and is like, hey, man, you need to watch Breaking Bad. I'm like, when was that out? 10 years ago. So anyway, I always think of that because, like, when I first watched Breaking Bad, man, I thought the first episode was terrible. My cousin kept telling me, watch Breaking Bad. I'm like, I can't watch this crap. You know what I mean? It
It
was just,
it's crazy because my fiance says the same thing about The Sopranos when she was like she never watched it, and then once we got together and I got her into it because I was always watching it. She was like, I never sat down and really watched the show. It's amazing, but that's how it is, man. It's hit or miss. You might think you have the best show on the planet. It's people's perspective, you know. Even with this show, you know, it might lose like just to quote Chiro Di Baggio, he said that it might lose some of the older heads, and he's right. I get what he's saying about that. Some of the older heads look at it and they may not be into the whole paranormal and the stregaria with the witchcraft and all that, but there is a lot of people that are into it. I mean, I sent the trailer to people I know. Some people were like, "Yeah, you kind of threw me off with the witchcraft and the voodoo and all that." I'm like, "It's not voodoo, dude. It's stregaria, and give it a chance." Oh, you know. But that's how people are, man. It's just perspective. They might not like it now and love it later, you know.
Yeah, man. No, that's great that you mentioned that, man. It because it's true, man. And the thing is, I think for first of all, for Capo, I didn't have that problem. I
Yeah,
watched the first episode and I was like, oh man, cool. Then I'm ready to go to the next one. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't,
absolutely.
going, oh, I'll watch it tomorrow or whatever, dude. I was like, all right, I'm ready to go. And
That's
there's
what,
some movies that are like that. Like I say, Breaking Bad, it took me one or two to get into it, and then I'm like, oh man, this is awesome. And then as the characters start coming, you're like, holy crap, this is deep. I started watching this one the other day, Dark Winds.
okay.
It's man, Native American Navajo show. Man, incredible, bro. And it has a touch on uh like there's a witch, and she's putting spells on. So it tripped me out, man. I,
I seen the trailer for it. Yeah, yeah, it looks
oh,
pretty
man,
good.
bro,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
nuts, man. It
yeah.
is that's incredible, man. And so I'm just have watched that, right? Then I go over and I'm watching an Italian version where you got that happen. I don't want to give away who and what, but you got that happen in there, and it's like it carries over to different cultures, man. Because like with cartels, they have their own deal where they pray to a certain saint to protect them through
Of course.
for drug dealing or
Yeah,
whatever. It's
yeah, man.
trips me out, man.
Yeah,
The differences between, I mean, not the differences, the
the
similarities
similarities. Yeah,
in
yeah,
different
totally.
cultures that have that type, and to see it on that's, what is that the first time that's really been brought out in a mafia type or mob style movie?
Oh yeah, definitely. Not, I've never seen anything like it with that. Yeah, you know, they might have touched maybe briefly in other things, maybe internationally that we haven't even seen.
Right,
But
right.
for the actual premise and taking a part of the show, like it's a part of the show. It's not just something they mention in it. You know, I'm sure it's been mentioned somewhere. You know, but nah, being a part of the show the way it is, I've never seen it done before.
Man, that's something like that, man. That's groundbreaking as far as a show. When nobody, you come up with something new like that, an idea of something that's factual, but you put it in that nobody else has touched on, man. That's amazing, man. Can you explain a little bit about that practice or whatever, or without giving it away for the show? But
No, no, of course we could. Yeah, definitely. So I mean, in the Latin culture, I think in the Spanish culture, it's called Santeria,
Santeria, yeah,
brujeria, stuff like that. In Italian culture, it's called stregaria because the witch is the strega, and in the bruja, and I guess in the Puerto Rican culture is the witch, right? So it's
right,
kind of the same thing. Santeria, just a lot of pagan rituals, stuff that's very un-Catholic, I guess, in a
right,
sense. And it goes on around the world too, man. The place that we come from in Calabria, those guys will drink the pig's blood. Those guys will burn Saint Michael on the saint when they do their baptism and making ceremonies and stuff. But what they did here in Capo, it's next level. They just took it to the next level.
yeah.
And it's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about it. I've been watching it a lot,
Oh
pretty
yeah,
much over and over. I'm loving it, man.
it's awesome, man.
It's surreal too, from my perspective too.
Right. Oh, right, man.
Yeah,
To actually be a part of it,
and
and
waiting this long, and yeah, man.
yeah, that's the other thing, man. Waiting it out and being patient, staying on. Just hey, man, this is gonna. We got confidence in this. It's gonna happen, and then actually seeing it happen like that, man. That's got to be just so fulfilling and everything, man.
Yeah, man, it's wild. It's wild, man. Your hard work pays off, and your patience pays off. And hats off to Jimmy again. I'm happy for him too, man. He stuck it out because
Yeah.
that dude got mad offers to drop everybody from the beginning. Like, you know
Is
what I
that
mean?
right?
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Absolutely.
Jeez,
Yeah,
man.
if you're investing in something, you're gonna want to invest in something that ROI you want the percentages to be high. You know, they're not going to take their chance on a bunch of newcomers.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And at that time too, it was under a different direction, a different director. I don't think that original director captured the vision the way it was supposed to. And then Sal came on and just rocked it. Sal Murata just came on
Yeah.
and captured that image the way it's supposed to be. You know, and shout outs to him. And nothing against the original director, she was great, but it's just, you know, it either works or it doesn't work. You know what I mean?
Right.
And when we came back with the revisit on it, I was like, yeah, this is it right here. You know, and then watching it in the premiere, I was like, wow, so stoked, man.
Man, that was cool. And so, and the other thing is, man, so this all happens in Florida.
So we did film a lot of it in Florida, but the storyline is based on Center Reach, Long Island.
On Long Island, right? But they do a lot of the filming's done there, right? Because you know, I mean, you can see the area and stuff, right?
Back and forth, you know, it's done in Florida, mostly done in Florida, but a back and forth thing. You know what I mean?
Right. Like, was this area was Florida?
That right there was,
that was
even though it doesn't look like it, that was
right. Yeah. So they, man, that's something they do a lot to make it look, you know, to give it that different look and everything, right?
Definitely.
Wow.
But more of it will be shot in second season. A lot of it's going to be shot in Long Island, definitely on location in Long Island. You know, it's just the whole, people have to go out there and support OG. That's really what it is to get a second season. This is an independent project. You know, we don't have $1 million behind it. We did the best that we could as independent artists, and you know, funding is needed for season 2. So if you guys enjoy it, go on IMDb. You know, drop a review on it. Give it a 10-star review if you can, a 10-star like and a review. Go on Amazon under purchases and give it a review and a nice high score, because that's what gets us the second season. You know, funding for the second season. We have second season, but I don't know where the funding is right now. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And that's what we're working on right now. Even though we're signed on for it, we still have to gather that budget to, you know, get people to you know, invest more money on a short shot.
Right. Well, definitely, man. The numbers are going to make a huge difference. So yeah, anybody that's watching, man, definitely, obviously go on and watch the show. You're going to enjoy yourself. It's a great series on Amazon. Also, go to the IMDb and you know, leave you can leave a review on there. And does Amazon even takes reviews and stuff or something after shows?
They do. They take a like on the actual app if you're watching it, but they also will take a review and a rating under the purchasing on the app as well. If you go on your phone.
Right.
Yeah,
I've noticed that. I'll definitely take care of that, man, for sure. Obviously,
appreciate it.
Everybody do that, man. I mean, you want to. For me, man, I always want to support independent artists or people that are, you know, doing a grassroots type thing like that, man, where it's not just necessarily yet got to some huge, you know, backing or corporation or whatever, man. You guys will get there, man, easily, man. Without
appreciate it, man. Yeah, because that's what people have to kind of look. When you look at it, you got to look at it through a scope of, you know, because I know there's going to be haters out there, but like, dude, we did this shit completely independent. There's no big money behind it. You know, there wasn't $1 million production with 1,000 people on set. This was us doing it, hitting the pavement and hustling with it, and trying to capture the best performances that we could. We didn't want to make it like a novelty and a shtick, you know, or some Saturday Night Live skit, because all that shit's been done. You see a lot of it out there, whether you like it or you don't like it. There's a lot of shit out there. It's just like, you know, what's next after it's all been done, Mike? You know,
that's what makes it so great, bro. Y'all did something. That's what I'm saying. When I'm going into it, I don't know what, you know, I'm thinking, okay, I'm let's see, what's going to happen? Is it going to be Soprano-ish? Is it going to be Goodfellow-ish? Is it going to, you know what I'm saying? Any mob or anything that has Mafia type stuff.
Yeah, we always compare it, right?
You have to, man. That's your bar. You're always, you know, just say boxing, man. What's your bar for heavyweight? We're talking about Tyson, Ali, Foreman, Frazier. You know, you listing Marciano. You're thinking of these guys. Middleweights. What do you got? You know, and your list is going to go on. So if a guy comes up, you're going, he ain't that. You know what I'm saying?
Of course,
because the bar
is a lot of that shit that you compare it to is lightning in the bottle, man. You know,
right?
You know, today people are just hungry for content nowadays, and there's room for everybody to do it. If you got the right kind of stuff and it's interesting, you're going to develop I don't want to say obsession for it, but you're going to develop an interest for it, and you'll pay attention. And that's what they captured here, what the writers and the creators of the show captured people's attention. Like, oh, this is different. Got a lot of stuff that's out there right now, and it's all good too. I like it. Shout out to everybody that's doing it, from Godfather of Harlem to
Oh yeah.
to Tulsa King to Grey's End. All these shows, they're trying, they're doing it. And I get it. I know where they're coming from in their perspective. It's not easy to do it, and people are going to hate. It's a vanity project, or the acting is not top notch. Well, let me see you do it, cocksucker. You know what I mean? Why don't you grow the balls and go out there and try to do it?
Exactly, bro. Oh man, it's all, dude. Listen, man. Just doing the dumb stuff I do, man, little shorts or whatever. You know how many crap comments like that I get? Oh man, this guy's an idiot. What? He's a moron. He's what? Man. Listen, you already know, man. Because if you're there, you're gonna hear it. You just got to know how to not let it affect you. No worry about
man.
it.
The greats, all the greats here. People tear down Eminem, but the guy's probably the best MC that's ever touched the microphone. And he's got just as much haters as he's got, people that love him. So there's nothing you can do. And I think that guy's perfection, as far as craftsmanship, with crafting the skill of MCing, the art of delivering rhymes, dude. There's nobody like him. People hate. You know what I mean? It is what it is. As great as you can be, people are still going to hate.
And you know what? Think about that, man. If Eminem at his level, his skill, gets the level of hate he does, what do you think you're going to do when you're starting out with a new project? You're going to get bulldozed by that. You're going to get tons of that. But guess what? You keep going and you get the people who do support it. That's the ones that matter, man. Because imagine how many people when Eminem first came out were like, oh man, dude, this guy's not the Beastie Boys, or he's not whatever. I mean,
right.
The
of
name
course, man. But to quote him, what he said was, "I'm harder on myself than any of you could ever be." And it's the truth. You know what I mean? That you just can't listen to it. Tunnel vision. You blast forward. I'm good if one person likes it. You told me you like it. That's it. I'm good. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying, man.
I'd be pretty sad if nobody liked it. One person told me they liked it. I'm good. And there's been a lot more than one person. So I'm good with that.
Without a doubt. Oh man, me and my wife sat there and we were both like, wow, that's and when it hit the excuse me, the name it again, man, the Santeria style of the
Spinagaria, when it hit the
Spinagaria. Yeah, I don't want to say it wrong, man. Man, when it hit that, I was just like, oh shit, whoa. I'm like, what's going on here? Yeah, man, dude, that's freaking dope, man. I love it, man. I love it. The whole different vibe, because it wasn't copying the same stuff, man.
Yeah, it wasn't breath of fresh air. Yeah, breath of fresh air.
Exactly, man. That's what I'm looking for, man. I don't want to see this. I've already got Goodfellas. I've already got The Godfather. I've already got, like you mentioned, Godfather of Harlem.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it, man. I mean, I know everything ain't historically accurate or whatever, but it's entertainment, bro. I'm not there to learn a history lesson.
Exactly. We know the story. I know the stories. I could break. I'm an expert on that shit. I know that it's off. I can tell you this, but you have to just sit back and enjoy the performance and enjoy the story, man. Same thing with The Irishman. I thought it was a great movie. Yeah, we know he didn't kill Hoffa. Who cares? Watch the movie and be entertained by it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What does it matter though? What does it matter?
I'm not there for a history lesson, bro. I'm done. I'm out of school. If I want to read history, I'll go find that in that section. But for entertainment, oh hell yeah! And like The Irishman, for instance, man, you got a guy. Sebastian Maniscalco's in there. I mean, to me, one of the funniest guys. He's hilarious, bro. I mean, I've watched when I first found him, and I was probably late to that. He's probably been out forever. And I was like, holy shit, who's this guy? He's hilarious. But I mean, yeah, man, hilarious guy. And they're playing a different role in something different. It's awesome, man. It's so cool. I love to see people getting into different stuff like that and do well at it. So
totally. Yo, Mike, I actually got some questions for you, if you don't mind, man.
Come on, man. Come on with it.
So I find it so intriguing being from Jersey, having Italian-American parents. I want to know, I've never really met anybody outside of the States, like maybe Canada, maybe, like Connecticut, but Italians in Texas.
Oh, yeah, man. Lots.
Tell me about that.
I'm stoked to tell you, bro. So here's what happened, man. So my great grandfather on my grandmother's side, he came through New Orleans. That's where they went, right?
Right.
So they went to there. And then when my great grandmother came, my grandma would tell me a story. She was on a boat for 3 weeks to New Orleans from Sicily. They came from Bissaquino, Sicily, which is right at Palermo.
Yep.
And so when they came there, that's where they went, right? So that's that side, my grandma's side of the family. So my grandpa and his brothers, they headed for New York, separate, hadn't met each other yet or anything like that, separate deal. So they head to New York, and two brothers went early. One of them, Luigi, he actually burned his birth certificate. You can see it on Ancestry where he burned his date of birth because he wouldn't have been able to travel because of his age. And we still have his Ellis Island picture and everything. They shaved their heads just in case they have lice or whatever. They're in, they have to get all these shots. They're in like quarantine and stuff.
Yeah, vaccinated and all that. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And so my grandpa, he's going to meet him there, right? And so, but he comes through South America for whatever reason. And they had a bunch of stuff going there, man, where they one of them got kidnapped there in Sicily. One of them, there's so much stuff there, right there.
Yeah.
I got one of my dad's cousins is there and other family. My dad's cousin's the last one that really knows everything that can tell us. So every time somebody goes to visit, they bring back another story about it and stuff.
Yeah.
So we learned. But anyway, but my grandpa, one of his brothers went to Venezuela, or his brother's son went to Venezuela, and he started a pasta factory and a glass company there. So I'm guessing he went through there first on the way back up. It's the only reason he would have went through South America. I don't know any other reason. So he comes in, goes to Cuba, somehow ends up coming through the Florida Keys, through Key West. I got his paperwork where he, declared himself at the Florida Keys. So he goes straight up to New York, meets up with his brothers. They get into this is the early 20s, early to mid 20s. They get into all kind of stuff. They got a bakery in Brooklyn. So they're making big money on other stuff, bootleg and things like that. One brother ends up getting shot in that bakery and killed. And I got the newspaper article. I'll send you the article, man. He ends up getting killed there, man. And the thing mentions his name and all that. And that the one brother was the two brothers that were partners were out of town at the time. They were in Connecticut. And so they were to be questioned about it, and that he had large bank receipts and stuff like that. It's crazy they put that in the paper at that time, you put that info. Anyway, this was I got it from a New York paper from 1928, I believe.
Wow.
And so, yeah. And so the other, so my grandpa and his other brother, they have to figure out what do they do. One brother's just got killed there. What are they supposed to do? They send word back to their other brothers in Sicily. What do you want us to do? Whatever. So they tell them, we're going to take care of the situation with the guy. We know what happened with your other brother. We're going to take care of that, which they did. One of them did 8 years in Sicily behind that over there. And they told him, go to Texas, meet up with these people. They're going to come from New Orleans. They've come there. You're going to meet up with them. That'll be that. And so that's basically what they did, man. They went down to Texas. So my great grandpa was in New Orleans, right? Well, at the time when they were there, they had a mass lynching.
I remember that. Yeah, I mean, I remember that. I remember the story.
You know what I'm talking about? Yes.
Yeah, of course.
It was about an Irish cop who had been shot.
Hennessy, right?
Yes. And so they rounded up any Sicilians that were there. Dirty Sicilian is suspected. That's what literally the paper says. Dirty Sicilian suspected in Officer Hennessy's murder or whatever. Italians rounded up, and man, they just started hanging.
Yep.
Sicilians. Boom, boom. And my grandpa was like, well, at the time they had only had one daughter there. Him and my great grandmother, and they're like, well, we're going. So they headed to Texas, man, and that's how they ended up there, bro.
And is it? Am I mistaken? Is it Houston? Where do you live?
That's where they. Yes.
So he settled in Houston. Okay.
Yeah, he settled in Houston, man. And so, man, it in the neighborhood where they settled was actually called Freedman's Town. It was an all African American area, and that's where they settled, man, and it was called Freedmanstown because it was freed slaves lived there,
Oh,
right
wow.
near the bayou and near
Okay.
downtown.
Yeah,
Later
yeah.
on, all this land, and so when they were there, they had a grocery store. That's what they were in, the grocery business. And so they would sell like cups of chili. My grandma said in the morning. I got pictures of their store, even, man, from back then, from
Oh,
the
awesome.
20s and 30s, man. It's crazy. With the name of their uh, uh, store on a truck. And so my grandpa, when he left New Orleans, a couple guys left with him, that either worked for him there or whatever. And it was a couple African American guys, and they were builders. And so when they came with him to Houston, they built homes there in that area. And so he would buy property and they built homes. And
Wow.
so some of them were like really historic. They still have them downtown, man. They like one of them's the Tomasino home, and one of them is like this barbershop that's the African American barbershop museum, you know, and they restored them and all that. But it's a trip, man. It trips me out. Like, how did they end up there? Sorry, bro, that took so long. Jeez, man.
No, man, I'm actually inspired. I want to see something on Texas Italians. I'd like to play something. You should write, dude. You have like a nice history right there, man. I've never seen that done before. That could be an idea right there, man. Nobody take that. That's my idea.
That's his idea. Well, so we got a little island right next to us. Remember you were talking about the hurricane yesterday. You sent me a message about that.
Yeah.
So we have Galveston Island. So that's where my grandpa, when they came to Texas, that they dealt with the people there, which was the Macios. And so the Macios basically ran. There's a great book, man. I gotta send it to you, man. One of those. It's called Macio's Galveston. Well, Maceo had this place called the Balinese Room, where he had gambling and booze when it was illegal, and so people like Sinatra went there, Don Rickles, and list goes on of people like that. And it's another really neat little deal of that a lot of people don't know about, as far as that type of stuff here.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Once prohibition ended, pretty much all those guys just opened liquor stores. Like my grandpa's brother opened a liquor store. My grandpa had acquired property from, and they all got, man, I could send you the articles on that. They all got busted during prohibition in Freedmanstown, selling booze, doing stuff, running pawn shops. It was illegal, but people needed food and stuff, right? So people that didn't have money for food would come and go, hey man, can you keep this watch till I get paid and let me get a loaf of bread and some milk? And they, yeah, sure. They would do that even on property, man. I found paperwork of property that they got that was out in the country, nothing, that they traded for food and stuff.
Wow. That's freaking interesting, dude. I love it, man.
It's nuts, man. Trips you out how different the time was or whatever. And they had horses there, bro. I mean, we're talking about downtown, you know what I'm saying? Like right there downtown. And I got a picture of my grandpa with this horse, in a buggy with Tomasino brothers to haul his stuff, or whatever. It just trips me out, man. But yeah,
I find it fascinating and interesting, the migration, how Italians went to Australia, they went to Canada, they even went to Argentina. I think there's a big presence in Argentina. A lot of bloodlines are Italian near the Pope, right? As well.
Right.
From Argentina. He's Italian or Italian bloodline.
Right.
But yeah, I always found that shit fascinating, man. That's why I always wanted to ask you. Never really got the opportunity to talk to you about that.
Man. I'm glad you did, man. I'm sorry it took so much time, but I'm a terrible storyteller, man. I'll go off into a long tangent.
I love it, man. I love it, man.
Well, appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. But yeah, man, because like when most people, when they think of Italians and immigration, they think
New York.
Mm-hmm. Ellis Island. I mean, and like I said, even my grandpa's brothers, that's where they headed. So how about y'all, man? How was it as far as coming here, man? What was the game plan?
So we don't really go back that far. My parents actually were immigrants. They came in the 60s.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they came. My mom actually and my dad, they're from the same town. My dad and his family left about 5 years earlier. And then my dad came back, not looking to get married, just came back to his hometown in Italy, in Calabria, saw my mom and was like, I want to marry that lady. So it's kind of like The Godfather.
Yeah, right.
Except my mom didn't get blown up.
She didn't get blown up. That's driving a car.
Yeah, exactly. But exactly like that. And my dad obviously wasn't the son of a Don or anything. My dad they were regular people in Jersey. They weren't Mafia. But yeah, that's our story. I mean, he married my mom. and then they came back to America. They took the boat too. They took the Queen back, the cruise ship. It
Nice.
wasn't, yeah. They took that
That's
back.
awesome.
Yeah, and they settled in Perth Amboy, New Jersey, which is like right next to Staten Island, right next to the fifth borough.
Right.
And we just been here ever since, man. We never really left, just by just going back and forth as kids, to Italy every summer, because all of our family was there. You know what I mean? We didn't really have that. We had family here, but not the amount that's in Italy. Because again, my parents are immigrants. They took off. A lot of people stood there.
Right.
Which is also pretty interesting. I want to add a quick point in there. I have a cousin in Italy who's actually the mayor of one of the towns, one of the paeses. Same last name as me and everything. And he made this speech once there that moved me. He goes, "Could you imagine if none of the Italians immigrated out of the country, what they would have built in southern Italy, what they would have built throughout Italy if those people went and built what they built in America, in Australia, Canada, if they just stood here, what prosperity we would have had in the peninsula." And I was like, wow, I never thought about it from that perspective, because a lot of people did leave during the war. My father and his parents, they were poor, man. You know what I mean? Like there was like 16 of them. You know what I mean?
Right.
They weren't the descendants of counts and noblemen, and a lot of people out there that stood there. They come from money and their generational wealth, and they were able to stay out there. And then the rest of them, in my opinion, are either struggling to survive or are part of the end dream, man, part of the Mafia bloodline.
Right.
And they're there doing that. But other than that, just the amount of people that took off from Italy and went everywhere and just made it, including my family, man.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And thinking of that, for instance, how, like, as far as building and developing stuff, man, to me, Sicily, Italy is so beautiful, man. I love the old stuff and the things that you see, there. Um, Man, how different would it have been, man? Would that have happened? I mean, would there have been, like, say, skyscrapers throughout Sicily different, or something weird like
Yeah,
that?
man. Would have that bridge have been built already in Sicily to connect to the mainland, which
Right.
I heard is in talks now. They found a perfect point in the Strait of Messina to build that bridge, but a lot of those people in Sicily don't want it. They're like, we need roads before we need a bridge. And I don't really want to get into that because I don't really know too much of the politics on that. But there's a big business in the ferry. The ferries going back and forth is big business for them. So I don't know what change the bridge would bring. You know what I mean? Just collecting tolls. You know what I mean? So I get it from their perspective. But yeah, man, think about it. If none of these people left, what they would have built in southern Italy. Just the economy in general. But then again, who knows, man? Because shit is so corrupt out there, and
It's way totally different and everything. Yeah. And like you say, the roads. Um, I'm almost, man. I don't want to. I'm pretty sure it was Sicily, man. That my cousin goes there a lot and visits our other cousins and people there, and so he was saying they were driving around, I believe, and they ended up going down a road that in Italian up there said "walk only." And they get to the end, and the mirrors are touching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And these two guys come out, and they're like, "Hey," like in Italian, "What are you, moron?" Or whatever. And so one of them, first of all, they were lucky there was nobody there, because normally there's a bunch of people walking. It's a busy area. There was some festival somewhere, and everybody was gone, or something to that nature.
Mm-hmm.
So one of these guys gets in there and goes, "I'll back it out for you," or whatever. And he backs them straight, and he has to climb through a window to get in and back them down this little, I think it was uphill, and it's down and back.
Yeah, it's always on a hill there, because you're in Sicily, and Sicily and Calabria are like what's that movie, Avatar, like the floating mountains.
Right.
It's all, that's why you go through that. You go through these little tiny streets, and they have these little cars, and it's nothing but turns that if you do not know how to drive out there, you're done. You're checking off. You're flying off of a cliff over there. Yeah, it's real dangerous. Yeah, man.
Sure.
All those towns are placed either in the basin. They're either placed along the plains of the mountains. They're either in the canyons or the valleys, right? Or they're at the peaks. All these paeses and towns are spread across like that. How they're built, and they're built into the mountains. Some of them, if you see the landscape.
So that's what I was saying. As far as, like, say, if it would have got to where a lot of people were there building, what would they have even done? Would they tear that stuff down and redo? Oh man, I'd hate that, because it's so
beautiful, man. Yeah,
it is, man. It really is. It's like, even I think our family home is still there, where my grandpa and them grew up, and they donated it to the church, so priests live there.
Yeah, that's
And
typically what they do out there. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
You know,
so they live there. One of my cousins went and visited, and so I won't say I don't know to say my last name on here, but
no.
the she goes up there and she goes, "Is this the family home of it?" And he goes, "Of the," she goes, "Of the family," and he goes, "No," and he said the name and he goes, "Sindicato." And she was like, "Oh, okay," whatever, And he was just like, "Serious." He goes, "Come in, I'll show you everything." It was a trip, and it was like, she got to see it, and I've got pictures like from way back of that. Like when they
Yeah.
would have, like, say, St. Joseph's Day, and they had an altar out there up front, and just, and it looks like stone. It looks
Yeah.
like it's made out of all stone.
Those are pagan rituals too, carrying around a saint around town and all that stuff.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm telling
No,
you.
seriously, man, they're big on
Sure.
that. Yeah, Southern Italy's big on that, man. And they don't just carry the saint or the Virgin Mary up a road. They carry her around the town. We're
Oh
talking a
yeah.
2 hour procession. The 2 hour
Sure.
procession with 10,000 pounds on their back, like 10
Right.
cars, and they're just moving. It's not like you go to Arthur Avenue and they take St. Anthony out and they bring him up the street and they bring him back. No, this is not like that.
The
This,
whole.
yeah, oh yeah, and everybody's people are crying and they're putting their kids on top of it, and it's crazy,
Oh
man.
yeah. Oh yeah. No, and then if you look at the Godfather, they've got those like clan looking, what's it
Yeah,
called? Where
yeah, yeah,
people
yeah.
didn't know, they'd be like, "What the hell was that? What's this?" They
Yeah,
don't realize it's something totally different or whatever. But
yeah. No, it's
yeah,
got nothing to do with that. Yeah, the Neapolitans do that.
exactly.
Yeah, the
Right.
Neapolitans do that with with San Gennaro, with Saint Gennaro.
Gennaro.
They do that. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, check this one out, man. Before I even skip off of that, this is a pretty cool, and I'm gonna send you the picture of this one too. It is so in our area, they have a street that's called Little York, right? And it was called Little York because so many Italians lived there. It was like Little New York. And so that's where the Sacred Heart Society, which was a club that my grandpa was a member of, and all these, Italians, they bought a building there, and
They,
they
they made a social club.
they made a social club, right? And so
Yeah,
I got a picture of my grandpa. When I first saw it, I'm like, man, is that in Sicily? And then I looked at my grandpa, and I'm like, no, he was here, but he's in America by then, because he's carrying, the Blessed Mother, and he's got the post, and they're walking, and I'm like, did he go back to do that? I don't know if I'm doing that here. And then I look and I saw the telephone poles and wires the way we have them here. A lot. I know they don't have that there. The way
yeah,
that's made,
exactly.
it's just the way it's made. I know for a fact. And I went, damn, that must have been over there by the Sacred Heart Society. They went up Little York, which is a major street now, just crazy, and packing the Blessed Mother, and going down
Yeah.
the street. But
It's cool that you mentioned that, because we don't really have that anymore. Because my dad was a part of a social club too here in Jersey, in Central Jersey, and where we grew up, there was Italians, but there wasn't that many. So a lot of us were really paisans, like actually from the same town or near
right,
the same. And they started a social club out here in the early, I want to say 30s or 40s, nah, maybe like the 40s or 50s, when my dad, wasn't even here yet. There was a social club in his town, and then they were a part of it for many years. And they played bocce ball, and
yeah,
they played cards, and they had the bar, and and they would have
right.
events and stuff. And I remember going there, and they would have wrestlers come. Bam Bam Bigelow came one time, signed an
Oh
autograph.
man, cool.
Yeah, man, he was actually a part of that social club, him and his dad, in Central
Right.
Jersey. But but a lot, like I said, a lot of paisans, like real paisans from the same town, were part of the social club, and we don't have that anymore. You know what I mean? We don't have that
No,
sense of nobody sticks
a
together anymore,
community
man.
group or whatever. Yeah.
No, man, we don't, and it's crazy, because you see, like, even with nowadays, I was talking to my fiance about this. There's a lot of people out there on social media that are Italian American that they're not sticking together. These guys got podcasts that are making money. These other guys are doing rap. They don't really give a shit. They'll like a video, but they won't tag you in it. They won't do.
Right.
They won't take a step beyond, and they'll friendly blow you off in public when you meet them. It's like, dude, stick together, man. You make us look
Yeah.
stupid because we did stick together at one time and we helped each
Right.
other out. You know
Oh,
what I
there's
mean?
none of that. Yeah. No, I got you, man. Well, it's
Sad.
crazy you say that, man, because like the Sacred Heart Society. So my dad, he passed away in 2018, but before that,
Oh,
up
sorry
as
about
long
that,
as
man.
oh no, bro, it was 2018. I miss him. I love him. Great guy, man.
Yeah,
Awesome.
my dad died in 2014, so
Oh
I hear
man,
you,
God
man.
bless him, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. You know the feeling, man. So, um, and you had a dad like mine. Obviously, if he's bringing you to, you know, do what's it called?
Auditions,
Auditions and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. That's a real dad. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's involved in doing so. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
of
That's how
course,
mine
of
was.
course.
So anyway, me and him, like later on, he's retired and I had time. We every Thursday we'd go to the Pasta Thursday. And they had the guys in there, man. They're making meatballs. They've got sausage. They had two guys there that made their own sausage,
Oh,
and they'd have sausage. They'd have pig feet cooking in the sugo. They'd have, the big pasta there. You could get a Italian breadcrumb chicken quarter if you want to go, whatever you want, man. But it's a whole spread. Then they got cannolis and crap like that, bro. Every Thursday, and eventually me, my cousins, my dad. Sometimes my sister would go. Sometimes my daughter, if she's off of school, and we'd have a whole table, bro, like a big table, man. And people would come, like say you're running for the DA. The DA came. Hey, I want to let everybody know. God, get up on the microphone. Well, everybody know, DA, what's your name? Sponsored the wine that you have on your table. We have a big bottle of Lambrusco, on the table. We're all drinking out of plastic cups, and stuff. But it was stuff like that. You know what I mean? It was fun, man. Bocce ball outside, big statue of the Blessed Mother up front, Italian and American flags up front.
yeah, man.
And do you know that the membership got so low and the just the support and everything that the guys who were the core members just ended up selling the building and dissolving the club.
Exactly what happened over here too. And listen, speaking for myself, I'm not going to speak for you, but I think it's myself to blame too. Maybe my cousins and everybody, because we didn't step up. Maybe we should have stepped up and became members and paid our dues. And it started with us. So I'm not trying to act like
100%, bro. 100. It's crazy. It's crazy you said that, because just now, as I said that, I was thinking back of my cousin's husband, who he was big in it. Her husband was big in it, man. He was one of the main guys left. But me and my other cousins and blood cousins and everybody else, man, we didn't step up and go. But we had a lot. It was different. Life was different too. We weren't able to maybe had that extra time to do that. The economy's different. We may not have to. We had to work. Absolutely. We had to. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, man. I think my dad probably paid $40,000 for the house that's worth $500,000 today. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Let that sink in for a second.
For sure. I mean? And the taxes on that. Think about that. You ain't still paying the taxes on a few $1,000s. You're paying the taxes on $500,000. I don't care if you redid it or if you whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, man.
No, I know, bro. Same thing with my pops, man. My pops, you basically sometimes get taxed out of a neighborhood.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
A lot of people do, man. They can't keep that up. They get taxed out, man, because they're like, okay, my dad bought his house for like $13,000, man. In like, I want to say late 50s, right, or something like that. And he ended up selling it, however many years later for, way over a $250,000 or whatever, or something like that. It's like at that time that was just unheard, and it was a teardown. We're not even talking about a house that's like, something he was, what I'm saying, like somebody was going to move in there and remodel. No, they just, tear down, put 2 townhomes or something,
Yeah, man.
So but when you said that, it hit me hard, man. That what, bro, I'm the one that was the next person in line to step up and go, okay, man, we're going to run the Sacred Heart Society. We're going to do this,
Yeah. Ours was called the Italian Tripoli.
Nice.
I don't know why it was called that, but not sure. But yeah, I grew up there, going back and forth there as a kid to the social club. And yeah, man, I miss those days, man.
Yeah. Because you see your friends, you see family, you eat good food or you play games like they had the bocce ball and all that. And I still got my dad's pins. Like I got it on one of my hats, one of my fedora type hats. And then I still got my great grandpa's membership. It says he's a brother in good standing. That's what it says on their Sacred Heart Society. Such Antonio is a brother in good standing,
Nice.
Like,
yeah. When we were growing up here, like the families were close because again, we had family in Italy, but we still had family here too. So there was a lot of cousins and a lot of brothers came over. But I always know they would play cards, Mike, and they would play. You would know when they were switching from American cards to Italian cards by just the volume in their voices screaming at each other. When they started playing Scupa, they're playing Scupa and Trissetto and Briscoe and all these games that we would see them play, but they would play for all weekend, Mike. all weekend.
Sure.
They would go home, shower, come back, and play their gambling.
Big
Friday,
oh
Saturday,
yeah,
Sunday,
yeah.
dude,
Oh
straight,
yeah.
no drugs, no coke, none of that. Just getting out there and playing cards.
Straight
You know
up,
what I
just
mean?
for the love of it. Yeah, man.
Espresso, and
Yeah,
fucking
do it. Yeah,
cigarettes.
right. That's it,
Good.
bro. You know how many pictures I got like that, man? From my grandma, and my aunt, and my great aunt, which was her sister. They lived next door to each other. So they're two sisters, and they married two brothers. My grandpa and his brother
Wow.
married. They both married, and they
Yeah,
lived
that was
next door to each other.
very typical. Very typical. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like I said, they were told, hey, go down there and that's who you're going to meet and that's what's going to happen. So that's how it happened. Same with my great grandma that was on the way to Louisiana. She had never even seen my great grandpa. She had a picture and goes, that's who you're marrying. She's like, okay. She's on a boat, 3 weeks. Here, hey, how you doing?
Yeah, man. Just like my mom and dad, same thing. See, what happened with my mom was her dad actually was framed for a murder he didn't commit. So her father was in jail, and my mom's her brother had to go stay in like I don't want to say a monastery, but it was like where these nuns were, and they raised my mother, and then her brother had to go stay with somebody else and learn a trade, while my grandmother went and picked olives because my grandfather was in jail. So my mom's in this monastery, let's call it, and she's like 16, 17. My dad comes back into town. Of course, she's trying to get the hell out of there, right?
Right.
She's had enough of it. You know what I mean? They're beating the shit out of him every day. And she sees my dad. My dad's like, I like her. I want to marry her. He goes to the Monsignor of the town because he can't go to her dad. Her dad's in jail. And they were like, yeah. And my mom's like, yeah, just get me the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? That's what absolutely. But obviously, she fell in love with my dad because they were together 50 years.
Sure.
So,
oh, man.
But that's our story, So when people say that, oh, my parents divorced, I'm like, dude, my parents didn't even know each other. They got married, and my mom stood with him to the end, till his last breath.
All these people, exactly, man. That's how it was. These two, I'm telling you, man. My same thing with my great grandpa, all of them, man. They stayed there, and then on top of that, after one of them would pass, then they would move into one of their daughter's house, and they lived there.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like my great grandmother, she lived there till she died in that bed in the middle room of my grandma's house. You know what I'm saying?
That's true Italian culture. Because if you go back to Italy again, like all my family in Italy, they have these palazzos, which are buildings, and they're flats. And what they do is, the parents live here, the son lives here. The other son that's young, not married yet, he's got an open flat that's unfinished, and then they finish that flat, and they all live in the same block, in the same vicinity,
awesome.
to where the same courtyard, and they have a sense of community and family there. And it doesn't matter. Like, I had a cousin who his parents have a little shack in the front, and he built a villa behind because he became successful in the orange business. And he has a big fucking villa, Tony Montana villa, that's overshadowing his parents' little shack behind, And they all live there. And then the brother lives on this side, another brother, and they all live together in the vicinity, which is such a beautiful thing. Because here we're all spread out now. My brother lives an hour away. My other brother lives a half hour. My sister lives 20 minutes. It's like, imagine if they were all right here next door. I'd be there right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're having dinner. You're enjoying. It's family. It's close. It's man. It's so different. It's a trip, man. Like we were talking about different cultures doing that. We had a Cantonese family that lived on our block that did basically what you just said, man. They all lived. They bought and they were successful, man. They had a little grocery store, and the grandpa was a butcher and stuff like that. Well, they had these little houses and they all lived in them. Well, one of them, once they had enough, Scott old, he builds this huge 3-story house in the back of this regular, single family home up front.
Yeah.
And there's this huge, he was the first person though, man, to do that in this area that's now covered in 2-story townhomes and that type of thing.
Yeah, man.
They did that. And look, all the older people lived at the bottom, and it just close family, man. So close. Man. I love it, man.
So it should be, man. So it should be.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Well, man, we're coming up on our man, and I want to pull up a couple of just a few of the pictures here, man. This is some of the cast and crew here, including your brother, man.
Yep, that's my brother. That's Lou Silver. That's me in the middle. That's my son right there that I'm holding, and that's Jimmy, and that's Nicole Kerr. She plays Mama Josephine, my sister.
Oh, wow. That's man. And so, where was this one taken at? Is this at
this is at the premiere
at the premiere?
Yeah, in Tampa, near Tampa.
Got you. There's one, and then I think this looked like is a signing.
Yeah, this is before the premiere. We had all the fans come. Basically, they just came in and we signed a poster that we have with all the characters. To my left is Vincent Prestigiacomo. To my right is Dominic. He plays
Yeah.
Young Michael. Yep.
Little Mike, yeah.
Yeah. So the whole, basically the main actors are all lined up right there.
Gotcha.
We're just signing posters. There goes Lou.
Of course, Lou.
Compadre.
This is this from one of the flashback scenes, right? I mean, that's what you're doing.
This is the opening of episode 2.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is when Michael Baresi's driving in the car and he's listening to the Islanders 10-10 wins, the sportcasting, and it takes him back to when he was a kid sitting in the back seat listening to his father talk to his uncle, who didn't take care of the witness situation.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that was really cool, man. That's a good scene, man. And the kid, man, he's a good actor. He's back
great,
there,
man.
you know, and he's looking like he's like, you know,
he's great. Everybody was great in this, man. Everybody did their thing. Everybody took it serious. You know, we didn't make a mockery of the craft. We're trying the best that we could to put this on film the best way that we could, and just like, again, taking it serious, man.
You guys did great, man.
I appreciate that.
For sure, man. Once again, man, everybody go check out Capo Rise to Power on Amazon now. Leave a review, man. Leave a good review. Leave a review on your app, on your phone. You know, anything you can do to help, because this is like you said, an independent project that people put a lot of heart and soul into, man. And I think it's gonna just continue to grow huge, bro.
I really hope so, man. I hope so.
It's awesome, man. Hey, Mikey, thank you, man, so much for taking the time to come on, man. And everybody who's watching, please hit like, subscribe, all that stuff. Share the video, man. Tell everybody to go check out Capo. Once again, amazing, man. And thanks again, Mikey. I appreciate it, bro. Big
thank you, OG. Let's do this again, man. I had fun.
For sure, man. We will, for sure, bro. Thank you, man.
Thank you.